Hello and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. Last time we just found out that Yuuji prefers to be eating alone. However, there were at least two persons in the school that did not really want to let that happen. We're now residing in the principal's office, so let's continue. I had assumed the job of a principal mainly involved counting your school's money, then begging for more. That and signing off on paperwork you haven't really read. And judging from the way Chizuru has the free time to call me in to chat for no particular reason, even going as far as to make the tea herself, my guess may not have been that far off the mark. But, well, even if that's the truth of the matter, pointing it out would no doubt hurt the woman's self-esteem. A good man knows when to keep his trap shut, as my master put it. So, how are things? Are you used to the school yet? Not in the least. Is there some problem with our accommodations? If you need anything in particular, submit an application and we'll... That's not what I meant. I don't know. It sort of feels like I'm just playing a student for some undercover operation. Can't quite settle down. Is that so? From what I've seen, it looks like you're rather enjoying yourself. Well, I won't deny that, but sometimes I'll catch a glimpse of myself smiling in a pane of glass and just flinch. It's like I'm looking at someone else. It feels awkward. I just want to ask that guy, what's so funny, asshole? Who do you think you are? And before I know it, the smile's fallen right off my face. Not quite sure I follow. Alright, here's a simple analogy. You know when you're having sex in a hotel and get a look at yourself going at it in the mirror, and you're just like, what are you, a monkey? The whole thing seems ridiculous, right? Same deal. That's even less comprehensible. Really? Okay then, let's try this one. This guy I knew told me a story about the time his parent caught him screwing a pillow in the middle of the night. In that moment, cursing his own idiocy, he longed for the release of death. I think that sense of shame might be somewhat similar. Is there more to this story about your pillow-loving friend? Not really. How do we get on this topic anyway? Mind if I get back to the point? Feel free. Well, I like to think I do have some idea of what this must be like for you, but there really is nothing I can say other than you'll get used to it eventually, I guess. The rest of the kids at this school all said pretty similar things when they first arrived here, you know. So they all got their own circumstances, huh? Figured as much. Just like you, the other students at this academy all have their own complicated reasons for being here. The reason this school was founded in the first place has no small connection to a personal circumstances of that sort. Likewise, the reason that we're operating with only 6 students is in large because you are all special cases, useful for a test run. But the nature of these circumstances isn't made clear to any of the other students, or so it would seem. Forget about the students, we haven't disclosed the exact details even to your lecturers. Some of our students have delicate situations that shouldn't be clumsily meddled with, and some have things that need to be kept private to avoid major difficulties in their daily life. Like you, for example. Our school's policy is based on the principle of self-help, I suppose. By bringing together students with serious problems, we hope to nurture a mutually caring atmosphere, enhancing an independent psychological recovery. In other words, you throw a bunch of losers together and hope they'll lick each other's wounds. That's a very misleading way to put it. Rather than forcing help on our students from above, we're trying to provide an education emphasizing the formation of bonds between peers. Sounds pretty when you put it that way, but basically you gathered a bunch of rich kids who couldn't handle a regular school. Raked in a ton of donation from people with guilty conscience about how their children turned out, then made up an excuse about healing in their own time when no one improved no matter how much money you threw at the problem. Goodness, what slander. I won't deny that we receive financial support from Sakaki-san and Irisu-san's families, but it's strictly above board. It's just that since our enrollment is so small, every individual student bears a large proportion of our expenses. And we're talking about a private capital here, so there's a certain degree of flexibility with their funds. Ah, my bad. Let's stop talking about money. Whether I'm right or not, this is just going to lead to a lot of outraged self-defense. And wherever the money is coming from, it's covering my free tuition, so I hardly have the right to criticize. Where were we? Why did you call me here in the first place? It's not that I had anything urgent to discuss with you. I just wanted to know if you encountered any problems with your new life here, that's all. Like I said, there's no real problems. I just can't get used to this yet. But you have made friends, right? Are things going well on that front? With some more than others. As you know, I'm not the most sociable human being, and thanks to my master's influence, I've got a bit of a sarcastic streak. It does lead to some misunderstandings. I guess you could say I've run into some minor communication problems. Minor, are they? I have the impression that your communication with the others is somewhat warped, to be honest. What do you expect in a school that was founded to collect warped people and fix them? Or maybe to sweep them under the rug? Whichever. Beating the floors out of a warped sheet of iron, gathering the failed works and stuffing them in a dark closet, this place is more like a metal shop than a school. Why does every conversation I have with you turn out this way? Didn't I just tell you? I have some issues with communication. I guess you might have been hoping that adding a truly twisted individual like myself would offset the others' warping and get them back on track, but apparently it hasn't worked out too well. You can think whatever you want, but I didn't invite you to this academy for such a mercenary reason. I'd like you to trust me on that. Gratitude toward the person who saved your life, is it? It is indeed. It was a coincidence that I was the one who saved you, and I was acting on orders. But from what they tell me, it couldn't possibly have gone that well if it was someone else. If you hadn't been there, I wouldn't be sitting here drinking tea right now. Am I wrong? That's just something you arbitrarily convinced yourself of. Not to repeat myself, but I didn't save you for any special reason. Arbitrary as it may be, I believe what I believe. And either way, I don't like leaving my debts unpaid. Or would you have perhaps preferred some other reward? No, you've done more than enough. I suppose it may be a little different from the normal school as you imagine it, and I won't deny you have a lot of unusual classmates. But this is the most I can do for you. I am sorry. Not a problem. Not that I buy every word coming out of the principal's mouth, but when you get down to it, the place like this is probably just about right for someone with circumstances like mine. Tossing the likes of me into a run-of-the-mill school wasn't a great idea to begin with. Pushing my way into a crowd of people with completely different values probably would have made for a tense and irritating experience. Alright then, are we done here? Yes, I suppose so. If you have any complaints, please do let me know. I'm not going to promise I can fix anything, but I will always consider what you have to say. Got it. Ah, that's right. I actually wanted to ask you something while you're here. What is it? What are your thoughts on the other students? My thoughts? I'm not asking you for a detailed analysis or anything. How should I put this? Your opinions on the others. For example, what sort of person does Sakaki-san seem like to you? Sakaki, huh? I haven't known her for that long, and honestly I can't say that I have a particularly firm read on her. And to be perfectly frank, this is the woman who started slashing at me with a box cutter out of nowhere. I can't say that I'm eager to get deeply involved with her. Alright, these are just my impressions. If you put it nicely, she's a rational type that doesn't waste her time. Put it harshly, and she's just apathetic. Unless it's blocking her way, the girl's not going to bother picking up something that falls down. That's how she comes off, at least. That applies to her relationship with others as well. Sakaki seems to avoid getting involved with someone unless she absolutely has to. She'll respond when you talk to her, but rarely joins the conversation otherwise. I guess you could interpret her quietness as an attempt to avoid hostility or attempt at intimacy with others, but I think it's partly she simply doesn't understand how to build relationships or of mutual trust. And if someone else tries to bridge that gap, she'll take it as an intrusion on her territory and violently reject them. I think those are the major points. I've been consciously trying not to be too pushy or intrusive with her, but well, I haven't gotten that far. I see then. Then how about Matsushima-san? Michiru, huh? That girl's off her rocker. The other day I saw her wandering the dorm hallways, moaning with cling wrap rolled around her head. What kind of ritual is that supposed to be? I'm fairly sure she was just bleaching her hair. She needs to repeat that about once a month to maintain her color, but apparently the chemicals she used are quite painful to apply. I see. At the time I'd hidden myself instinctively and observed Michiru's freakish ceremony from afar, but it seems she wasn't wrapping foil on her head to protect from occult mind control rays after all. Incidentally, is that hair color allowed by the school regulations? Well, I suppose it might not be the best thing for our public relations, but we're a private school. It's not like her hair is causing any particular problems with discipline. True enough. It seems like she has her reasons for going with that hair color too. Guess there's no need to force her to stop. What do you mean? About what? Do you know why Matsushima-san bleaches her hair? No, well, she said I'm at Tsundere, so it has to be this way. But I don't know any more than that. What the heck is that? Tsundere? Okay, to sum the girl up, she's just a generally incompetent human being. Although you might get distracted by that flashy blonde hair at first, it's not representative of who she really is. That coloration is actually a warning signal. By going out of her way to be highly visible, she's announcing to everyone who sees her that I'm poisonous. But in the end, it's nothing more than an empty threat. In other words, Michiru is so weak that she feels the need to project a hollow menace in self-defense. The girl wouldn't last a minute on her own. She has to form symbiotic relationships to survive. But she is also counterproductively cautious around others and has a hard time trusting their charity or affection. In that sense, Sachi's a unique presence in Michiru's life. If you ask me, Michiru might be trying to figure out just how selfish can I be before Sachi rejects me, by slowly pushing the limits of her kindness. What? For the record, those are just my opinions based on what I've seen of Michiru, so I might be completely off base. No, it's more that you have some quite insightful observations. I'm a little surprised. People do call me perceptive at times. When you grow up nervously watching the expressions on other people's faces, you naturally pick up a habit of observing others. Come to think of it, didn't you have an older sister? As she speaks, Principal Tachibana takes a binder stuffed with document from a desk, then begins flipping through the contents. Children with elder siblings tend to grow up by studying their example, which frequently lead to outstanding observational skills, or so they say. Well, that's not the only reason in my case. And how about the others? Right, what are your thoughts on Kumine-san? Sachi, on the surface she's just insanely serious about everything. Kind of an awkward girl. I think she's got the idea that diligent obedience is the only redeeming feature. Guess you could classify her as a tortoise rather than a hare, but it seems more like she's decided that for herself. Like she's just given up on developing her talents any further. Basically, she's the type who thinks about resolving a huge problem over the course of 10 years of hard work. She seems incapable of even considering a search for easier methods, let alone turning to others for help. If you told her, build a castle here, she'll start stacking up stones herself. She's serious, honest, and follows any instructions she's given obediently, to the point where she often seems more like a robot than a human being. The girl's faithful to her orders, but she doesn't think about efficiency when carrying them out. It's almost like she's punishing herself. If someone doesn't teach the girl to let off some steam, she's going to explode someday. Yes, I think you're right. No matter what you ask that girl, she'll just say, certainly, I'll take care of it. So it's easy to get in the habit of just asking her to deal with chores and odd jobs. I'll have to be more careful about that. Try not to fall into the mistake of thinking, I've created an appropriate setting, so now I can just leave the students to take care of themselves. You know how to hit me where it hurts. Look, I don't want things to stay the way they are either. You know, that's exactly why I regularly take feedback from the students in this sort of personal interview. So you've had this sort of discussion with the others as well? Yes, that's right. I try to ask for an interview whenever there's a convenient moment, and I have the students who are less comfortable talking about submit diaries. Sorry, diaries. Well, I guess you could call it that. Maybe picture diary would be more exact. Machina, is it? You are indeed perceptive. It is a little difficult to understand that girl, and she'll frequently forget the topic halfway through the discussion, so I decided to have her put anything that comes to mind down on paper and hand it in. She's surprisingly good at drawing. It's actually quite fun to read. I see. Yeah, in Machina's case, I think a diary would probably be more coherent. I must say, it seems like you've gotten quite friendly with Iri-Susan. That's very unusual, you know. Amane told me the same thing. You might not think it to look at her, but Iri-Susan has a shyness of strangers significant enough to cause difficulties in her everyday life. How exactly did you get her to accept you? Piece of cake. Just taught her a few grown-up games. Now she comes by my room every night. It's a joke. Don't give me that look. That really is a joke, yes. If you ask me, Machina's kind of the exact opposite of Michiru. She plays up her own weakness to take advantage of the protection of others, like her bizarre speech patterns and quirky habits. The aggressive way she cuddles up to people, all that. I think it's something she does by instinct to invite compassion from the strong. The sort of trick works on many men, but is not going to make her popular with her own sex. Wouldn't be surprised if she's been bullied as a result. The reason Machina is taken to Amane so much is probably because Amane's unusually strong protective instinct, but I think Amane's large body and oddly masculine parts of her personality is also a factor. If you want Machina to like you, communicate that you don't intend her any harm, then demonstrate that you're strong. She'll settle you up to you herself. That sounds like a pretty warped, or rather a pretty mercenary basis for a relationship. Don't know about that. It's a fact that I don't dislike Machina, and she herself understands perfectly well that I've seen through her. Fact is, Machina is much smarter than she lets on. You really don't find this arrangement even slightly problematic? That's not what I'm saying. For one thing, it's not like I can always be around to protect her. If you're completely convinced that someone's going to keep you safe at all times, you'll turn into a sort of person who can't do anything in a real emergency. Amane is enough if she wants someone to spoil and protect her. I'm trying to convey the value of independence and self-defense. Are we still talking about Iri-Susan, or is that a future commentary about our future as a nation? An interesting interpretation. Just a joke. Alright, last up would be Susan. Your thoughts? Amane? To be honest, she's the biggest mystery to me. Her painfully cheerful personality and burning need to help others are one thing, but I have no idea why she clings to me so persistently. I believe Susan said herself that it was love at first sight, didn't she? That's what I don't understand. See me walk by and your first thought is going to be, that's a suspicious character. And she's saying she fell in love with me at first sight. She might be the most deranged of them all. I don't have an answer, so let me ask you instead. What kind of woman is she? What kind? I'm pretty sure what you see is what you get. She's cheerful, energetic, and just as reliable as you'd hope for from the older student here. Hold on just a sec, will you? The principal quickly flips through the documents she's holding. She took a year-long leave of absence from her previous school, so she's actually 2 years older than you. Hey now, you shouldn't give away a woman's age like that. Pretty cruel. Please, she is still young, that hardly matters. In that case, how many years older than me are you, Chizuru? What's the matter? You inexplicably broke me into sweat. She was second to arrive at the academy following Sakaki-san. I didn't ask you about that. And the day after her luggage arrived at the dormitory, she shows up on, what's the word, a chopper? You know, the kind of American biker gangs, right? That was a shock. I was convinced we'd gotten a really wild one, but talk to her a little and anyone can see what a nice normal girl she is, you know? Alright, I get the picture. Guess I'll give up on the age thing. Anyway, they're all good kids, so please do try to get along with them. Can't make any guarantees, but I'll put in the effort. Are we done here? Yes, you're free to leave. If there's ever anything you'd like to consult me about, come by anytime. Alright then, I'll be going. I can't quite get used to my life at this school. I was being perfectly honest when I told Chizuru that my own smile feels awkward to me. A normal student life in a normal school, it's hard for me to believe how readily I'm accepting these small fragments of happiness. Or maybe it's hard for me to forgive. I don't think I'm really feeling awkward when I see that smile. I'm feeling guilt. It feels like the foul gas is gathering in my body, like my blood's turning black and vicious in my veins. A stifling sensation as if my lungs were slowly filling with cold poison. Look you, do you really think this is what you should be doing right now? Vague, impatient questions dominate my mind. I feel a pressing need to do something, anything, but no concrete course of action presents itself. The principal tells me that I'll get used to this soon, but what good would that do even if I could? No matter how I change, none of the things that I've lost are ever coming back. Ooh. In the field, interpersonal relationship resemble the interlocking of pieces in a puzzle. In order to form a coherent larger picture, the players must fix every piece into its place. I move according to their instructions, take positions they designate for me, and carry out the tasks they assign to me. In many cases, the players prepare a number of spare pieces as an insurance against the unexpected. The pieces in question realize that they are expendable, and are prepared for the possibility that they may be used as sacrifices. I always hated watching as people were sent to their death, but I also understood the rules of the game we were playing. Pawns aren't allowed to move on their own selfish impulses. The very first priority is always to win. It's probably because I've spent so long in that sort of world, but friendship has become a mostly theoretical concept for me. The word rings a little hollow in my ears. Not to say that I'm skeptical of its existence, but to me it seems almost like something out of a magic show. Show me two people swearing we'll be friends forever, and I see some TV psychic bending a spoon. Makes me want to pull back that curtain they've set up around their feelings and see what's really going on in there. How the trick really works. It's sour! So sour! As usual, Michiru's gulping down that bitter soft drink to maintain her vitamin C intake. If she's that determined to keep up this absurd daily dose, wouldn't taking supplements be more efficient? There are pills that contain daily supplies of a wide range of vitamins. The ideal would be to get everything you need from your meals, but that would involve eating buckets of vegetables daily, which isn't easy to keep up. It's not a great idea to become completely dependent on pills for your nutrition, but I don't think there's any problem with using them to complement your diet. Incidentally, Michiru. What? How long have you been there? Are you the stalker? Why don't you just take supplements? Huh? What are you talking about? If you want to keep up a regular vitamin C intake but don't like sour things, wouldn't it be easier to just take a vitamin tablet? Okay, cut the maggot. I'm asking you a question. Why do you torture yourself by drinking this stuff when there's an alternative? Ha 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 ha, Kazumi-kun, you might look smart, but it seems like you're surprisingly dim-witted at times. Are you an idiot or what? That's not what I... The answer should be obvious. It's much easier for the body to absorb the vitamins when they're in liquid form, of course. Just think about it for a second. If you drop some water and a piece of candy on top of dry sand, which will get absorbed faster? Come on, spit it out. Almost certainly the water. You see? In other words, the liquid vitamin will be absorbed more easily by my parched body. Did we learn something today? Are you saying that your body is composed of dry sand? I'm not sand! There's no way I could be sand. I was just talking about it being thirsty. That's why I said parched, because my throat gets all dried out, obviously. Who are you calling dried out anyway? Am I some kind of leftover rice you found stuck to your shirt? How dare you imply that I'm rice? Who are you calling the rice goddess? I get the feeling you'd end up in an infinite loop if I let you keep going here. Anyway, I guess I showed you. I'm pretty smart myself at times, right? Yep, Michiru's right about this one. The rice goddess is always watching over us, so you'd better eat up every grain with respect or face her rice-flavored wrath. No, that wasn't exactly what we were talking about. By the way, since I've heard you've been seeking sour stuff, I got a little something ready for you, Michiru. Ta-da! Amane takes out an airtight plastic bag filled with powder. Although I didn't have her down as a drug trafficker, this is a pretty suspicious any way you look at it. What's that? Heroin? Of course not, don't be an idiot. This mystery powers, true in identity is, drumroll please, pure vitamin A. Not even vitamin C can compare to this stuff. I gathered the sourest of the sour, then refined them into pure powdery essence of sourness. Custom made for you, Michiru. Come on, get it while it's sour. It's not like I enjoy the sour stuff, you know? Still, you had this chance to challenge the sourest of the sour dropped in your lap. Might as well give it a shot. What? No way, don't wanna! A veto, eh? Alright, you don't have to try it. I'll go instead. Sour things tends to be good for you after all. Well, except when the taste is the result of something going rotten. Amane, you didn't grind up spoiled meat to make this, right? Of course not, but... Then I'll try it. You gotta swallow that stuff? Hold on, that's not... Sit tight and watch out. Amane, you understand, Michiru? If you're not going to take this, I will. Here goes. In this situation, Tsundere would... Hey you, hand that over right now! Michiru rudely snatches the plastic bag out of my hands and pulls off the twist tie that was sealing it shut. It's not like I'm going to give you any. This is my A, got it? Try too hard to play the Tsundere and you'll end up as nothing more than a predictable contrarian. Michiru pours the stuff from the bag into her mouth, gulping it all down as though it was antacid powder. Oh, bitter! Wow. Hey, why are you swallowing it all at once? Just a teaspoon is plenty. Try telling me that before I swallow it. Got it? My tongue, my poor tongue, it burns. This is way past sour. It's just bitter. Get me a drink, any drink at all, please. Here you go. I pass Michiru the 100% vitamin C drink she's been working on earlier. Thanks. Blah, sour! What the heck? This is my drink! You said any drink at all. This was the closest thing at hand. Yeah, I said that, but this is obviously no good. Why do you have to be such a jerk at a time like this? Are you an idiot? Oh, please. Anything is fine. Give me something else to drink. Okay, try this instead. Thank you. Bwah, bitter. What is this stuff? My special custom-made 100% vitamin A drink. What the heck? Hey, if you had something like that, why didn't you just give it to me? What's the point of making me swallow powder instead? I just brought the powder to show. I was going to give you the version diluted in water to actually drink. Then tell me that beforehand, okay? Look, I tried to. When Yuuji said he'd take the powder, and I said hold on very clearly, remember? Okay, maybe you did, but you know, we need to work on this. More orderly communication, okay? For the sake of a less painful future. Sorry, was it that sour? Yes, it was sour. Of course it was sour, not to repeat myself or anything, but I don't like sour stuff, okay? I just want my vitamins. I see. I had no idea why you're so stubborn about not using supplements, but if that's your way of doing things, I'll keep my opinions to myself. The tingling on my tongue is finally starting to die down. By the way, Yuuji, as an ultimate Tsundere, I can eat this stuff without batting an eyelid. But do you know if there's any foods to avoid by eating with sour things? Foods to avoid? You're talking about that superstition where a certain combination of dishes supposedly causes some terrible side effect? It's mostly just a bunch of old wives' tales. Really? Well, don't get me wrong, it's not like I really care about that superstition or anything. I'm so tough I eat grapefruit with anything, you know? That's how little I care. Sour stuff. I guess they clash with salty things, or So the bad combination will probably be stuff like eel or pickled plums. Supposedly you get a pretty severe indigestion. I really doubt it, unless you just eat way too much. I do think I read something about nutrition in certain fruits, nullifying each other's side effects, though, so if you can avoid the bad combination, I guess you might as well. Learning from the wisdom of the ancient is all well and good, but I wouldn't get too hung up on myths like that. Even that famous legend about the durian fruit and alcohol causing some fatal reaction turned out to be a lot of crap. But why are you asking in the first place? Planning to start cooking?
That's not it. It's nothing. I don't even care about bad combination, okay? Let alone cooking. I'm a tomboy. A spicy girl. A spacey girl? Gah! Shut up! Gah!
So the truth finally comes out. Qa'Rajh has been transmitted to outer space all this time.
No, I have not.
Are you really that concerned about bad combination? Worried about your diet?
Not worried at all.
If it wasn't on your mind, why would you bring it up?
No, that's not it. Yeah.
What's wrong? Your Tsundere is starting to fade.
No, it isn't. You don't need to go out of your way to point that out, got it? I mean, I'm unusually aware of it myself. Hey, what are you making me say? This is how I am naturally, got it? Not that it's any of your business.
My, the gang's all here. Is this one of those drug parties I've heard so much about? Sorry, we already finished that up.
Look, this is just a teensy bit misleading. Sachi, we didn't really have a party or anything, otherwise Yumiko would be here too, right? I never leave anyone out.
I see, that's certainly true. Then I assume Sakaki-san is off reading by herself again? Sakaki-san sure does keep her distance though. Not to say that we don't get along, but...
Really? I can already greet her with these, like, hello, Yumiko! How are you doing today? Not that I'm worried about your health or anything, got it? Piece of cake!
I am filled with admiration for Michiru-sama's gregarious nature. He throws himself into a target's bosom with all the intelligence and precision of a broken-down dump truck. Yeah, I expect you get carried away with that fairly regularly. Probably resulting in a lot of nasty glares from Sakaki.
Well, yes, I suppose that might happen every once in a while.
So who does Sakaki spend the most time with then? That's kind of a tricky one. I'm mostly looking after Makina myself.
Dang straight, I'm leeching off my money around the clock. As for me, I suppose I ask Sachi for favors pretty regularly.
Indeed, it's extremely frequent for Michiru-sama to pop up with a request just as I'm thinking about taking a break. But I find my work quite fulfilling, so I certainly can't complain.
I know, right? Sachi's my personal maid.
Then again, I also spend a lot of time together with Maki-chan as we're the same age. Makina's a popular one.
Yup.
Makina's a popular one.
Hey, you better believe I'm popular. Unlike Qa'Rajh, well, with a personality like that annoying, I guess it's inevitable, you know? Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Talk about rude. Rumph!
Michiru-sama, please calm yourself and try to accept the reality. You are not popular.
Sachi?
It's sad but true, Qa'Rajh. You really should work on making yourself some friends, okay?
So, what? Do you all just talk to me out of pity?
Don't think I'd go that far, but you're in the right neighborhood. Not to worry, Michiru. You can always make friends inside your head. I'll never reject you.
Hey, what do you mean? How does that friend inside your head thing work?
Michiru's reaction to my attempt at a joke isn't quite what I expected. She's staring wide-eyed at me, waiting on tenterhooks for more details. I take a deep breath and politely begin to explain. Well, the most common term would be imaginary friend. It's a fictional companion that lives solely in your imagination. Pretty typical in childhood. Some people only make one, some people dream of a whole cast of characters. Although they usually drop the idea as they grow up, I've heard some people keep their imaginary friends around even into adulthood.
Imaginary friend, eh?
Although Michiru listened carefully to my every word, it doesn't seem to have been what she was looking for. Her shoulders sag in disappointment.
Okay, so just a fantasy for kids, basically.
I guess some people have long conversations with their dolls or stuffed animals instead. Michiru does seem like the type to get caught up in her fantasies.
Huh? That's not true. I'm an unflinching realist. I stare reality right in the face at all times. Kapow!
Oh, that a fact. So, what's reality the way you see it?
Huh? The nature of my reality? That's pretty difficult a question out of nowhere. Hold on a second, alright?
Michiru folds her arms and closes her eyes. After a long moment of thought, she stands up straight and delivers her answer.
My reality is the fact that I'm here at this moment.
Judging from her dramatic delivery, Michiru must have thought that was a really impressive line. Sadly, her audience is less responsive. There's a moment of awkward silence.
Obviously, if you weren't here, how would we even be talking about your reality? Jiro, you tried too hard and ended up saying nothing at all.
Yeah, I guess that might have been a bit of a too hard question for you, Michiru. Michiru-sama, please don't be afraid to admit when you don't have an answer. If you're honest, Kazami-san won't ask you in the first place. I'm sure he'll go easy on you once he realizes the depth of your incompetence. Everyone else does, after all. You are incompetent.
Hey, what's everybody talking to me in that pitying tone? That answer just now was perfect. It was borderline metaphysical.
Can you define metaphysical?
Of course I can. What's the answer?
Her flip-flopping has reached warp speed. You disappointed me. I'm making a note not to expect anything from you in the future. Not that I have been previously, but I clearly need to lower my forecast even further. From this moment forward, I'll be formally handling you as an authentic, officially certified idiot.
Stop calling me an idiot. I'm not stupid, got it? That word is forbidden. Don't stop. Okay, let's just ignore Miss Don't Stop for the moment. Fantasy abandonment, is it? Maka has come a long way.
That ain't role-playing, you know. I'm really ignoring you.
Don't stop!
Well then, moving right along. Yuuji, I can't really imagine what kind of friends you've had. What sort of people did you play with as a kid? As a kid? My friends, The words bring to mind a young girl I met under some very unusual circumstances. Our relationship was basically about helping each other stay alive, but I guess you could have called it a sort of friendship. Then again, after a while she disappeared from that place, and I was left to fend for myself again. Tricky question. I'm not the most socially gifted person around. Really? You are a bit grumpy at times, but I didn't think you were as bad as all that. Do you have any ideas what kind of friends you'd like to have then? I'm drawing a blank on the concept of friends, so I decided to mentally substitute the term buddies. I think it can provide more concrete answers about the teammates I've known on the field. Well, I'll pass on anyone who holds me back. The useless ones don't have any right to complain if they end up getting shot in the back.
Shot in the back? Just what kind of setting is this friendship supposed to be happening in?
Just a figure of speech. Nobody's actually going to shoot an ally. But if you could, you should try to learn who you can count on to watch your back and who you can't expect anything from, and how to deal with the latter. Dealing with the incompetent?
Ugh.
Anyway, I like people who are easy to work with. I guess that's really the only thing I'm looking for, to be honest. As long as they don't get in my way, I'm not going to complain. That's, pretty pragmatic. Feels more like you'd want something like that from a co-worker than a friend. Maybe. Sometimes I think tools make better partners than human beings. They have a clear purpose, you know, makes them a lot simpler to deal with. Yuuji, I really don't think you should be treating people like tools. Didn't mean to imply that. I'm just saying that tools tend to be reliable. Once you've used a piece of machinery enough, it practically becomes a part of you. A simple extension of your body that does what you need. The more affection you give a tool, the more smoothly it operates. A tool won't betray you. Not often, at least.
You kinda lost me here.
Sorry, gotta be off track here. To put it more simply, I don't think I've ever really had something you would call a best friend. Yeah, that's not that rare. A friend is one thing, but it's pretty difficult to find to get that intimate with someone.
I haven't really thought about this stuff too much, to be honest.
Nor have I. I am more focused on being of use to everyone. We've been discussing friendship for a while now. Not that the concept has really gotten any clearer for me, but at this point I realize that one person has stopped participating in the conversation. A certain bottle blonde has slowly taken her distance from the group and now friendly chat, her face growing increasingly gloomy. Her usual energy vanished. Wonder if something's wrong. I can see beads of sweat forming on Michiru's forehead. Maybe her stomach's upset? As she demonstrated just a few minutes ago, the girl isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. As she is an idiot, it wouldn't be surprising if she ate food off the ground and found herself in an intestinal distress. Yes, I can easily imagine the girl stuffing her cheeks with unidentified berries she found on some bush. I take a good careful look at Michiru. Indeed, this is the face of someone who'd go scavenging in trash cans once she got a little hungry. No, my mistake, she probably doesn't even have to be hungry first. I just can picture her plucking some tasty-looking colorful mushroom off the ground, chowing it down without a second thought. Idiots are such a handful.
Hey, what are you staring at me for?
Perhaps she wandered down to the beach, spotted a crab, chased it after it while drooling, then found herself under attack from a jealous macaque of coveting of the same price? Honestly, does this woman have no sense whatsoever when it comes to her hunting and gathering? Just entering a wild monkey's territory is dangerous. What kind of fool goes so far as to try to steal their prey? Come to think of it, crab-eating macaques don't even live in Japan. Did this girl really wander all the way to Southeast Asia in search of something tasty to stick in her craw? This is just too much. I have to say something.
Hey, what is it? You're kind of scaring me. Hello? Earth to Yuuji?
I probably jump off the sofa and drop my hands on Michiru's shoulders. Everyone flinches in surprise, but I pay no mind to the stares. I keep my gaze firmly focused on Michiru as I speak. It's a amoebic and dysentery, I'm sure of it.
Huh?
Don't worry, I have some experience with this. You were bitten by a crab-eating macaque, right?
What's a crab-eating macaque?
Try to learn from this experience. Stop scavenging for food for the time being. Don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing you for the thought. After all, procuring food from your environment is the most crucial and fundamental of survival skills. I'm very proud of you for trying, okay?
What?
That said, your particular actions in this case were mistaken. You acted rashly out of ignorance, but there's nothing to be ashamed of. I'll make sure this doesn't happen again, and... I sharply turned to face the rest of the group and raised my voice to a harsh shout. Let me just warn the rest of you right now. You don't have any right to look down on Michiru just because she's caught amoebic dysentery. This could have happened to any one of you. We're going to learn from this mistake. You're all going to know what plants are edible, which are poisonous, and how to avoid savage monkeys. I don't want you crying to me for help when the Japanese islands are covered in jungle.
What?
Alright then, first things first, I'll be accompanying Michiru for the moment. Come on, we're going to the bathroom. I'll need to get a look to confirm my diagnosis.
Wait just 1 second. You look at what? What are you even talking about? Crabby tins? Scavenging for food? I'm completely lost.
You were scavenging for food, right? Hence the infection.
Of course I wasn't. Don't just decide stuff like that without even asking.
Then what's with the sweating? Your face is pasty and you got nasty beads of perspiration on your forehead. You sure don't look healthy to me. I'm only watching Michiru, and me with concern enters the conversation. What's with all this talk about jungles and crabs? Is Michiru alright? Not in the least. She's suffering from brutal diarrhea.
I said that's not it, okay?
But now that he mentioned it, you don't look so hot all of a sudden. Are you feeling okay?
I'm perfectly fine. It's nothing at all, got it?
Even if you don't have dysentery, we need to probably identify the problem. Whatever infectious disease you've caught, we'll need to take out the appropriate countermeasures. Understood?
I'm telling you, I'm not... Chiro, does your tummy hurt? Are you okay?
Michiru-sama, please let me take you to the infirmary. Not necessary, Sachi. There's a possibility she's still infectious. I'll probably have more experience with dealing with this sort of thing than you. Understood. In that case, I will leave her in your capable hands. Come on, let's go.
Look, I'm telling you not to make such a big deal out of nothing. I hate it when people make a fuss about this sort of thing.
Listen, Maggot, how many times do I have to tell you not to make light of dysentery? The small things are what get you. You change your socks regularly when you're in Vietnam, and you always treat diarrhea with the proper respect.
I do not have dysentery, jeez.
You're awfully stubborn. But anyway, this illness sure came out of nowhere. You looked fine until we started talking about best friends or whatever it was. Michiru's face fills with pain and she clutches a hand to her chest. In the next moment, she's leaning heavily against the wall as if to keep herself from falling to the ground. What's wrong? Are you in pain?
Please, just let me rest. I'll be okay in a second.
Wait, is it your chest rather than your stomach?
Yuuji, please, just for a second. I'm used to this.
Normally chest pain is something we should be responding to immediately. But it seems this is a familiar occurrence for Michiru. She has the most information, so for the moment I'll have to trust her judgment. Alright, if you say so, but don't overdo it. If it feels worse than usual, let me know right away.
Fine, it's not like I wanted you to worry about me or anything, got it?
You got guts, young Tsundere. Thumping herself lightly on the back, Michiru slowly settles her ragged breathing down. In time, the beads of sweat on her forehead disappear and the expression of pain on her face fades away. I see. I tend not to trust sick people when they tell me I'll be fine as a general rule, but I guess sometimes the person in question does know best.
I told you so. It's just a little anemia, that's all. Nothing you need to worry about.
I don't think anemia typically causes chest pain.
Well, it does in my case. So even if you happen to see this again, I expect you should just ignore it, alright? Also, I don't really want the others to know about this, so you need to keep quiet about it.
If you got a chronic illness, I think it'd be best if the people around you knew enough to react appropriately in an emergency. But if you're that opposed to the idea, we can write a memo and stick it on your forehead.
I'm telling you to keep quiet, so you're gonna keep quiet. Understood?
If you insist.
That's all I wanted to hear. Okay, let's go back. Hey everybody, I've returned triumphant. It was just a little anemia, nothing to worry about. Huh? Back already? Glad to see you looking better. But of course, who do you think I am? Allow me to inform you, I am the Tsundere King, Michiru-sama.
I was very worried for you for a moment.
Sachi, if you got the time to be babbling about that, why don't you get me something to drink instead? I'm super thirsty. I desire natural mineral water immediately, if not sooner.
Certainly, I'll be just a moment. Ordering Sachi around the instant she comes back, I guess she really is back to normal.
A little anemia is not gonna keep me down for long. Flip the reset switch and it's all good. Alright then, let's get fired up again.
Were we talking about anything that exciting in the first place?
If we weren't, we are now. Full speed ahead!
Considering this level of energy, I guess I don't need to worry too much. Once women get started with idle gossip in earnest, it won't end anytime soon. In accordance to that rule, the group's conversation stretches on endlessly. Finding a good moment, I slip away silently. When I leave the dorm, I bump into Sakaki, a non-participant in the ongoing girl talk. I know she's not the most sociable type, but even so, she's known the others longer than I have. She might have some sort of answer for me. Hey, Sakaki. Just now, Michiru got sick out of nowhere. Don't worry. It didn't turn out to be anything serious. It seemed like she was actually completely used to it. Have you seen something like that happen before? No, not that I can recall. When I see her, she's always jumping around like an idiot. Which would mean she's trying to hide it. What are you talking about? Does Matsushima-sama have a disease of some sort? No, I don't think so. Sorry for the weird question all of a sudden. No, that's quite alright. Incidentally, Saki, please don't mention what I said to anyone else. It seems Michiru don't want people worrying about her. I see. Well, I think everyone here wants their privacy. My lips are sealed. Thanks. I'll see you later. Relationships are difficult things. Too often we hide ourselves out of consideration and for others and dress up ugly reality with happy lies. Give it up long enough and the truth itself irreparably tangled with fiction. Everyone understands that the ideal relationship is based on straightforward honesty. But that straightforward road feels like a circuitous as a maze once you take the first step. Our hearts are hidden from each other regardless of our intentions. As we stumble through the twists and turns of life, the most we can do is pray that we won't lose our way in the one maze we ourselves have created. But I think that might actually be the most difficult thing of all. If we could manage that much, every path would lie open to us. Well, that was a very long episode. I apologize for that. But I don't know how long the chapters are. Well, I don't remember how long the chapters are, so... and I couldn't rightly just stop in the middle of a chapter like that. Anyway, we'll see what happens in the next episode. So, until then, take care.